Hello fellow country lovers and welcome to the City Cowgirl Show with me, Caroline Scott. On this week's episode, I want to tell you about one of my favourite podcasts, If That Ain't Country, a weekly 3-hour-long radio show which takes us back to the roots of our favourite genre.
The best in good old country music.
You don't like play my kind of
Oh, we got both kinds. We got country and western.
Music podcasts are great because wherever you are in the world, you can listen to specifically curated playlists celebrating the genre you love. But let me tell you a secret. Come closer. Closer. No, not that close. If That Ain't Country isn't your average country show. It's packed with songs from your favourite artists, yes, like Conway Twitty, Loretta Lynn, Bob Wills and George Strait. But it plays tracks you might not have heard of before, and you also get anecdotes and commentary that put it all into context from the presenter Western Red. Let's give him a call, shall we?
I do try and make it interesting. Sometimes I think, who really cares who played steel guitar on that track from 1958? For me, it's little tidbits of information and historical context that I personally find interesting because at the end of the day, I'm just a fan of the music more than anything. And with my show, you've got 80 plus years of music to work with. So, I don't lack for content. I live it, I breathe it. I listen to country music on the way to work, on the way from work, at work, when I'm at home. There's always things that'll pique my interest, and I always dig a little further when I can, and that's what uncovers the gold. Sometimes some of that stuff is really surprising, yes.
This show's been running since 2012, when Western Red decided to bring the fiddles and steel guitars of classic country back to the listeners.
I grew up on the new traditionalist movement in the 80s and the early 90s, Clint Black, Dwight Yoakam, Randy Travis, Alan Jackson, all those kind of guys. And I started working in radio back in Australia in about 2012 or 2013. At that time, country radio doesn't really exist down in Australia, as I was saying off air. But even what I was hearing, it just was such a departure from what I knew country music to be. I'd try and stream a station out of, America somewhere, and I was getting quite frustrated by, I turn on the country music radio station and I can't really hear country music as I know it. And that frustrated me to the point where I thought, well, heck, there's got to be good country out there or people want to hear it. So I kind of made the show as a method to prove to myself that it still exists and that people still want to hear it. And I've just kind of been doing it ever since. That was about 2012.
Now, by this point, you might have realised that Western Red isn't from the United States of America. So don't be surprised if you get an Aussie injection in the middle of the show, where he plays tracks from Australian artists.
People really like it, and yet it's just not something they were exposed to. But you're right. It's kind of my little angle. It's where I come from, and if I don't sort of harken back to my roots every once in a while, what sort of authenticity is that?
Get yourselves to the Facebook group Traditional Country Tragics to join other classic country fans wherever you are in the world.
It's really just for people who like traditional country, bluegrass, western swing and honky tonk to talk about, stuff they heard in the show or post their favorite videos or if they've got an event. And I noticed you have a similar kind of group. I think it's, it's really good to kind of cultivate a little community like that. My show, it's not a gateway drug. It's the real McCoy straight out of the gate. I like the fact that people on the other side of the world, whether it's Australia or the UK, enjoy the show. And my goal going forward is just to get more people listening, really. To remind people that this is where, country came from and that there's still a lot of people, hundreds of thousands, in fact, that like to hear traditional country in the 21st century. I'd do this if I wasn't earning a red cent. And I hope to do it the rest of my life, as long as I can talk, I suppose, because I've got that much music I need to get out there.
So if you love the sound of traditional country music, give If That Ain't Country a go, and of course let me know what you think of it in the comments below, or just send me a message. I'll see you guys next time on the City Cowgirl Show.